So this project demonstrates, I think, how far Silicon Valley has come architecturally. Not long ago, this project would have been tilt-up precast with a sea of asphalt parking around it. The campus itself is very, very consistent, and yet the individual buildings, while being made of repetitive pieces, are nuanced. The fluid form, the way that light moves across it, and around it throughout the day, the variation of the depth of facade that responds to the solar orientation is subtle but very, very rigorous, very interesting, and very carefully and well made. So it's a quality of architecture that is certainly welcome, a welcome transformation of this part of Silicon Valley, and is, I think, a model for the kind of architecture that can and should be, we should see more of in this environment.
Thank you. It's really exciting to be back. I really want to share our appreciation to the San Mateo AIA chapter, to BioMed Realty Development, and to the community of Foster City. So the concept for the project was to create a campus that felt like these really tinsel, crystalline machines sitting in a park. We were blessed with an extraordinary site. Here's 17 acres that sit at the edge of a slough and just by the edge of the bay. There was a development there before. That was all taken down, and then the site was repurposed and imagined as a place for life science. Because of the absence of a notable surrounding, one of the things that was most important for the project and for the development success was to create a there. And so the way we achieved it was by using what we thought of as machines in the park. So these tinsel silver buildings sit surrounding a large multi-acre open quadrangle, which has amenities around the edges and direct access to the waterfront, so one could go kayaking at your lunch break. The building's exterior facade was conceived through a real lens of sustainability. It does two key things. It expands and contracts its module as it moves around the building, and it tightens to the glazing and expands out to 18 inches from the glazing, depending upon its relationship to its solar responsiveness. Where it's north-facing, the curtain wall goes tight. As it moves to the south, it expands out and the vertical fins narrow, so that you're always modulating the response of the skin design to its solar relationship of its environment. Although there are 4 buildings, no 2 buildings ever look alike from any vantage point because they're each responding in a unique way because of their own orientation. Human-centric design was a central tenet of the way we approached the project. It was quite simple, actually. We used slender wing buildings so that you're never more than about 40 feet from a window in any occupied space, so daylight and view is always shared by everyone. And on the ground plane, we reserved most of it for an open park. Grass, areas of congregation, opportunities to play basketball, bocce, take your kayak at lunch out, to get on the slough, to go in the delta of Foster City. So it was really designed to be a place for both science, deep research, and simple human enjoyment of the environment. A lesson learned for me from this project is that every community needs to be spoken to in the way that they address themselves. The folks of Foster City have a very thoughtful, and they're quite proud of their community, as they should be. And so one of the things that always struck me is to understand who they were and how they needed to be communicated with, so that myself as an architect and our development team felt like we were welcome and an integral part of the community, not someone coming in from outside to do something that didn't feel right and appropriate for Foster City. So I'm fortunate to have a wonderful partner in a gentleman named Brian Yinchik. He leads our planning and landscape group in our practice in San Francisco. And from day one, Brian and I designed this project together because it was as equally important for the architecture, the sitescape, and the landscape to be conceived as one. You couldn't separate them at all. They were really thought of as a totality. And for any emerging professional, I would encourage you to make sure that when you're finding an opportunity to do something with another professional discipline, find the right partner, and what you'll find is that the outcome is going to be far more extraordinary than you could have ever anticipated.